Okay, so here's take two. I figured I'd start here. I already did my foundation. Most of my eyebrows are done, and I'm just baking right now. I'm gonna take it off though because it's that time. It's baked for long enough. I know I look pretty white right now, but once I go on with my Milani bronzer, it'll look a lot better. I really like the Milani bronzer, and it's really cheap. You can find it anywhere. And they've actually got some really good blushes and eyeshadows and lipsticks too. I'm pretty impressed. For a drugstore brand, I would have to say that Milani is one of my favorites. Okay. I know, first of all, the lighting is not the best. I don't have any lighting. This really isn't something that I had planned on doing. I'm kind of by my window in my room. But I'm gonna do some eyeshadow with you guys today. I'm sorry if you keep seeing me go back and forth. I'm sitting on my bed, and I keep having to reach over and grab all my stuff. I should have, I guess, probably had it up higher so that I could easily grab it, but anyways, so today's my best friend's birthday party, and she's having a slumber party, and I don't really go out that often, so when I go out, I really like to dress up. I like dramatic looks, I like popping lipsticks, so I'm gonna just kind of do full face today and just show you guys kind of what I'm all about on, you know, a normal day. So I'm really not too sure. I think I might do a purple look today. So for that, I'm gonna go in with one of my pinks or my purples. And I think I'm gonna start off with you know, it's so hard to decide. I'm gonna start off with Pink Fleet. I know it's a really bold color to start off with, but again, I'm gonna do purple look today. If you heard my kids screaming in the background, it's because my husband just came in. So then that's kind of what that base looks like right there. Go a little bit. Not as dark as that. But, you know, I only really had to go over it one time, so really good pigment. And this Morphe palette was only like $30. It's not as expensive as the Jeffree Star palettes, which everybody says is worth it. I've never actually tried one, but maybe in the future I can tell you and compare. And I'm still getting used to trying not to make the faces that I make when I do makeup, because people are watching now, or maybe they're not watching, but I'm just So, aside from doing makeup, I have this weird talent where I can remember any commercial from like 2000 on that has jingles in it. And people like to test me all the time to see if I can actually do that. So they're like, oh, do you remember that tobacco commercial with the cowboy that had the hole in his neck? I'm like, yeah, I remember that. They're like, prove it. So, I'm gonna prove it. No, you don't always die from tobacco. Sometimes you just lose a lung. No, you don't always die from tobacco. Sometimes they just snip out your tongue. And you can't sing worth a heck with a big hole in your neck. No, you don't always die from tobacco. So if you've got a jingle or a song that you want to have me do, put in your request, because I could probably do it, no problem. I also like to make jingles up. And people tell me, oh, you should, make jingles up. That you're really good at it, I just really like to do that. So one time, I was sitting at work when I worked at Chili's, and I was just poor. I was like a poor kid, a little teenager trying to get up on my feet. And not that circumstances haven't really gotten that much further. I'm still poor, just not as poor, and have a family now, so to save my money. But anyways, I used to be at work, and I'd be just sitting there at the host stand, and I would be listening to the melodies that were going on, and the happy birthday songs, and everything that was happening around me. And I remember being in the bathroom at Chili's, and I used to bring Lunchables every single day, because that's all I could really afford. They were like $1. They weren't name brand Lunchables. They were those small Lunchables. Because I couldn't really afford the other Lunchables. But, so I used to bring those every day, and I would bring one for lunch and one for breakfast, and I would just, most of the time I would eat it for breakfast because I would get hungry. So I started eating these so much in the morning. I'm like, why don't they have something for breakfast? Lunchables makes bank off of these little tiny 3 crackers and 2 pieces of cheese, and they can't come up with something for breakfast. So I decided that I would make a song up, because Lunchables is probably like, we can't do breakfast because our name is Lunchable. And that's probably kind of hard to advertise, right? Your name's Lunchable, so how are you going to do breakfast? So I was thinking on this, and I don't know why I want to help Lunchables so much. I don't know who came up with Lunchables. I'm really not even that interested in them, but I was interested in breakfast ones because I love breakfast. They don't have breakfast ones. So I would sit in the bathroom and I would think about my Lunchable. I know it's a weird thing to think about while you're in the bathroom, is your Lunchables. But I love food, so I'm always thinking about, like, what am I going to eat next? And anybody that knows me knows that I love food. So, here you go, Lunchable. Here is my song to you. Lunchables for breakfast. Lunchables for breakfast. The title says lunch, but I ate it for breakfast. Lunchables for breakfast. And that's just one of the many, many little tunes in my daily life that still is an idea. I don't say that I'm an idea man by any means, you know. But if I can come up with some jingles, maybe help you out, Mr. Lunchable CEO. Come watch my makeup tutorial and learn a song that I wrote for you guys. I know a lot of people are looking at me like, oh my gosh, this is not looking good. But this is my process, and usually it ends up being very, like, smooth in the end. And so right now it's kind of patchy. But you can see that I'm smoothing everything out, smoothing lines, and just trying to really just show you guys how I do it every day. And I actually did not stick with a specific brush today, so that's why I didn't tell you what brush I was using. I had a pile of them laying right here, and I just started using them. So at the moment, I'm getting ready for my best friend's slumber party. And sometimes I overdo it, where I dress up way too much and nobody else is dressed up. Sorry, I gotta get that. My eyeballs started watering. And nobody else is ever dressed up, and then I feel like the asshole that showed up dressed up, and then everybody's like, nobody told you to dress like this. So hopefully this makeup will be okay. I know my best friend, she likes my makeup, so that's all that matters, right? It's her party. She can cry if she wants to. It's my party, I can cry if I want to. Oh, well, I just poked myself in the eyeball. You guys, my eyes are watering so bad. I think I'm just so nervous, I'm not paying attention, and that's why I'm using so many different brushes. I thought if I did my foundation and my eyebrows beforehand that this would go a little bit smoother. And it is. It's not terrible, but I keep poking myself in the eyeballs. So, if you're still here, thanks for staying and watching the torture. Anyways, so I'm gonna be drinking tonight. And the last time I was drinking, I was at my dad's house, which, you know, sounds like it was a long time ago, but it wasn't. My dad lives in an apartment, and he lives upstairs, and he's got like a bunch of neighbors, like apartments. It's like a cul-de-sac, but like they all have like apartments, so it's not the same complex, it's different complexes, but only like 6 apartments in each thing. So my dad lives upstairs, and I don't go to California very often, but I live in the desert, so when I start drinking, you know, I'm like, what can we do? Like, it's California. So I start drinking. My dad, he starts giving me, you know, or I start drinking. Not really my dad. I can't really blame him. But I start drinking. And I get way too wasted. And I know it. And I'm like, you know, I'm really drunk. So I don't really know what to do, because I know that if I keep drinking, it's not gonna be good. So I told my husband, I need to stop drinking, and I'm gonna go for a walk, right? Yeah? Hi. Sorry. So I started drinking, and all the neighbors that my dad have, like in the apartment complex, they all have like the prettiest flowers. So I'm looking at the flowers, and I'm like, oh my gosh, these flowers are beautiful, you know, I really want some. So I'm going into all the neighbors' yards. That's right. I went there. Into their yards. And I'm like picking their flowers out of their pots next to their doors. I don't know if I should be admitting this on camera, because I was trespassing, obviously. Committing to a crime of stealing flowers. I'm a flower person though. Anyways, so I'm just stealing flowers, not really thinking anything of it, until I look up and my husband's standing there, and he's like, dude, you're breaking into people's property. I'm like, they're apartments, you know, nobody cares. It's like, you're going up to doors and stealing flowers out of their pots. At this point, I didn't even care. I told my husband, these people are not gonna need these flowers. You know, we're from the desert. We need the flowers. And I'm sure they're gonna understand, because they probably don't even use them, right? And they're probably gonna be relieved that there is actually gonna be some use coming out of those flowers. I don't know if that's just what I'm telling myself to make it okay. But you tell me, you had somebody break into your yard, but you lived in an apartment complex, even though it was private yard. Would you be okay with me picking your flowers? Because I really don't think that that's an issue, right? So I'm adding on some concealer to my lid. And I'm just blending it. I mean, I probably should have used a brush. I'll probably use a brush on my next side, because that's kind of hard to do. There is this brush, where'd it go, that I like to use to blend. It's this, this one. And it's just very, like, stiff and round. And so when I use concealer, I usually will use this brush to blend it out. Okay, so I've got the concealer on. I'm also actually going to do the top part of my eye, like under my eyebrows, because look at those. Yep, that's a mess. That's a whole mess. I'm just going to top on my eyebrow up here too. Give it a cleaner look, right? So when I get nervous, I do two things. I either talk entirely too much or not enough. The other day I was at my cousin's. I mean, it's my cousin, so why am I nervous, right? I don't know. I just am. And I see a friend there, or an old friend. Still, I consider a friend. And I say hi to her, but I'm really nervous, you know, like I'm a nervous person. Even though I know her, I just feel weird. So I say hi to her. And I wink. For some reason, I get this nervous thing where I wink at everybody. You know, when I was little, I didn't know how to wink, so as an adult, I take that skill and I use it. So, eyebrows are looking pretty good. Everything's looking pretty good, right? Nice. Okay. So I got some cleanup work to do, and I gotta do some more eyeshadow. But I'll come back and I'll show you the finished look. And, well, I'm gonna finish the eyeshadow, but I'll come back when I'm dressed and everything, and I'll show you guys the finished look. So right now, I'm having a hard time with my purples, because I only have a couple shades, and they're really not the best, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna go in, and I'm gonna use, sometimes I use my finger, and I'll add on the pigment, and then I'll blend it out with the brushes so that it has a cleaner look. But for some reason, I know you're not supposed to use your finger, you're not supposed to touch, you know, but it's my face and it's my finger, so I'll do whatever I want. I do what I want. I'm grown. So anyways, so back to the makeup. So now I'm gonna go through And I'm gonna clean it up. I never know what I'm doing when I start these videos. I should probably know a little bit more, right? Because I feel like I look like a hot mess every time when I actually know how to do makeup, so. So this is kind of what it's starting to look like. It's getting way better. So it's cleaning up pretty good. So the purple's starting to come out. It's starting to look good. Okay guys, I actually have to let you go. My dad's calling me. I'll show you when I'm done.